Every new blend borrows from the past, and the Saga Blend number 7, it is a perfect combination of timeless knowledge of traditional tobaccos and the newer balance that today's cigar enthusiasts come to expect and love in a fine cigar. Leveraging 6 generations of experience and tradition of the Reyes family, the Saga Blend number 7 delivers a unique, full-flavored, medium-bodied cigar. The cigar is highlighted by a Brazilian wrapper over a blend of Central American and Dominican tobacco. Available in 3 sizes at an affordable price, the Saga Blend number 7 is sure to please and bring together past and present. Brought to you by Rocky Patel Premium Cigars. The sun-grown Maduro is hand-rolled at Rocky Patel's boutique factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. This triple-capped, hand-bunched, and hand-rolled cigar is accompanied by a gorgeous broadleaf wrapper. Well-balanced, rich, and decadent, it truly is a great addition to any humidor and worthy of bearing the long-respected sun-grown name. For more information, visit them on the web at rockypatel.com and be sure to follow Rocky Patel Premium Cigars on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Experience the world through the eyes of an icon with the new Macanudo Inspirado line. Created for a global palate, Macanudo Inspirado defies convention. Handcrafted with the world's finest tobaccos, Inspirado delivers a unique international smoking experience. Find Inspirado Orange at fine tobacconists everywhere and Inspirado Black online and in your favorite catalogs. Ready to be inspired? Check out Macanudo Inspirado now at macanudo.com.
Welcome back to the Stogie Geeks Show, episode 189. Will Cooper from Studio C in North Carolina, joined by my special co-host tonight, Tom Pearson of Commonwealth Cedar Spills. Tom, welcome back.
Hey, glad you had me. Glad Paul's having a baby, maybe.
Yeah, well, we will know if we have a new member of the Stogie Geeks team, hopefully real soon, but I know it was very close. So he left, for him to leave that quick, understand. So wish them all the best there. So this is our Stogies of the Week, where we just talk about cigars that we've smoked. And, it doesn't have to necessarily be something you smoked, Tom, this particular week, but some things that were, pique your interest. And I'm always curious because I see you smoke stuff a lot, and I kind of admire your range, your palate, and stuff. So Tom, I'll let you kind of kick us off here. I'll put you on the spot here.
All right, fair enough. I will probably I am horrible with pronouncing names from labels or things I read, and if you know how to pronounce it better than I, jump in. But one thing I smoked, and I went into my local one of my local tobacconists, Riverside Cigars, Jeffersonville, Indiana, across the Ohio here from Louisville. And the cigar is a Stogie Dos.
Chogui.
How is it?
Chogui.
Dos 77. I think I looked later, a guy named Victor Nicholas or something has come out with it.
Yeah, he is,
Wow.
I've smoked his stuff before as well.
Yeah.
This guy has really, you want to talk about a guy who's like Riste building up a cult following. Victor is definitely doing it. I've heard a lot, but I haven't smoked this cigar, so why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, no, I believe it's all, boy, I'm gonna blank on the details.
He's Dominican. Yeah, don't worry.
It's all DR. Okay, yeah. Then it is all DR tobacco. It was light. It was tasty. It got right down the center of my palate, which for me is my sweet spot. I don't like it when I start a cigar at the foot and for the first inch or two, where it starts to go all over the side of my palate and my mouth inside, and too much burn or anything in the back. It started off just nice and smooth and mellow, and it just got richer in flavor as it burned, which I was like, wow, this is impressive. I've never seen it before, had never heard of the guy before. So much so that I think when I went back to Riverside a couple days later, I just grabbed another 2 and said, I'm going to keep one, and I'm going to smoke the other one while I'm driving home. I mean, just an impressive smoke. And I don't want to say I'm jaded, but I smoke a lot as you do. So when something really catches you off guard that you've never tried, it's a wow moment. Like, this is great. And I keep the band so I can remember. And, of course, Instagram, put it up in social media so that I can go back once I lose the band that I put aside to keep and remember how good it was and remember how great it was.
Yeah, and that's a great, it's funny when I see a guy walk into a cigar store and they asked for a particular cigar, and they said, well, it's like a gold band with red and black.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah,
saved the
and
band.
the band's embossed. Does that help? It's embossed. It's like pressed, and you're like, that's probably half or more of the cigar bands. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, to your point, well, it's got gold on it, gold leaf. No, that doesn't help you. Yeah, it's wild out there with cigar bands, which would be a whole new. Have you guys ever had a show where you talked about cigar bands and that craziness?
We've done a couple of topics on that. We actually just did one on secondary cigar bands recently.
Yeah.
Kind of like why we think that's a really good thing and what are some of the good types of secondary bands.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. I think I want to do one on unusual cigar bands, which I think we may do one coming up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that may be a good one when you pinch hit again for us. That may be actually.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
How about you? What have you smoked that's kind of jumped at you, maybe?
I smoked this cigar called the Killer Bee, by Blackworks Studio.
Okay. Yeah. Saw it on social media.
Yeah. So Blackworks Studio is a brand under Black Label Trading Company.
Yeah. Yep. Love those guys.
Yep. And they are now part of now part of Boutique United, which was House of Emilio at one point. So and I think that was a very good move for James Brown and that team to go in there. And this cigar, Blackworks Studio, is kind of a different side of that company, sort of. So, like the Black Label Trading Company stuff was that gothic skulls,
Yep.
And now with Blackworks Studio, it's that modern, edgy, kind of vibe, so to speak. And in Killer Bee, you can see the banding's really different. It's this gold and black band. It's got what's cool about this is they have on the cap there's some thin strips of it's a Maduro cigar. This cigar, it's an Ecuadorian Maduro wrapper, but there's three natural strips going around the cap. They kind of look almost like rings of Saturn. I'll kind of say. So there's a real artesian quality to this cigar. He's using Ecuadorian Maduro wrapper over old Nicaraguan binder and Philly. Cigar's in one size, 4.5 by 46 Petite Corona. And you want to talk about the perfect summer smoke. I mean,
that's it.
This is it. It's a nice packed cigar too, and it is an absolute. This is the best cigar I think that James and his team has done, and he's done some good ones. I really enjoyed this cigar. It's got some nice notes of black pepper. It's got that cocoa note to it, a little bit of wood, and there's a little bit of a lemon peel note to this thing, which I think really kind of sets it apart. It's strength-wise, it's in the medium to full range, but body-wise, I'd say it's a little amped up in terms of medium to full, where it's kind of you'll have a nice little bit of weight on your palate with this thing. Like I said, James has done some good cigars. This was my favorite cigar he's done to date. It got a Stogie Geeks box-worthy rating from me.
Nice.
I really would recommend that folks pick up this cigar. I think they won't be disappointed. 24-count boxes. The price point, just for folks, is $750. So it's a little high for a Petite Corona, but I think for the quality of the experience you'll get, you won't be disappointed.
Nice.
Yep. So have you smoked a lot of any of the Black Label stuff at all?
Yeah, Black Label trade. Yeah. I'm horrible again with names. I remember the graphics they put on them. More than anything, they're a little on the richer, maybe darker side of the palette for me. But I like them. They're well done. They're just great. They're great smokes, and they're definitely, I think, as you mentioned, a great fit for Boutiques United, because there's a lot of interesting, very distinctly different cigar makers and cigar companies as part of all that.
Yeah, and definitely I agree. And you're right about one thing. They do have those darker. He likes those Maduro type. He has a lot of Maduros.
Right.
Right on that one. So what else have you been smoking?
Well, one I just got a hold of literally 2 or 3 days, or 4 days ago, last week Friday, and I think you've had this. I don't have it here in Louisville, I did have to go to Williamstown, Kentucky, to Bluegrass Cigar Suite to pick it up. But Fred Rui is SA17 Nomad Cigar
I have
Company.
not smoked that yet. I want to hear about this.
That is it. Well, Fred Rui, I've loved everything he's made, so maybe I'm a little biased there, but he makes great smokes. SA17, I think the SA stands for San Andreas.
Yep.
So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Not sure what the 17 stands for because it's not a 17 count box or anything like that.
He didn't disclose that. I don't think he
Yeah.
disclosed.
It's everything. Everything I think he's done has got something to do with Nicaragua. Like there's 17 licenses you got, or 17 trips to the airport to get it right, or down there. Who knows? But there's always something kind of cryptic in it. But it's a set. I had a SA17, the Coronita or Coronata size. I was about a $7 stick, I think, when I got it. It's a San Andreas wrapper, Nicaraguan binder and filler out of the AJ Fernandez factory, which is where I think Fred has done everything. And AJ's great. 21 count box. I'm cheating a little bit here, folks. I looked online. Yeah, it's a 21 count box. For me, definitely box worthy. The problem is I'm going to have to go up to Pittsburgh during the crawl this weekend, Western Pennsylvania Cigar Crawl, to buy my boxes, because I know Fred will be there and I'll get his autograph at the same time. And for folks who don't know, I'm a great guy to smoke a cigar around, especially when I buy a box, because my tradition is to take 3, maybe 4 of them right out of the top and give them away. If I like a stick enough and I love the cigar maker enough and you've not tried it, maybe it's the maker, the price point, or you're just loyal to your brand, I give them away. So I'll be doing that with this. But yeah, it's a great smoke. It's a cool band too. It's just as far as the art goes, so a little different there. But definitely for me, box worthy. Just a rich, and I like San Andreas. So and I think actually what I did with that cigar, I lit it, smoked it, and at the halfway point, because Jordan Kenner, one of the owners at Bluegrass Cigar Suite, he said, put it down and let it just fade, let it go out, which is odd. I've never heard that before, but I did it and waited 15 minutes and relit it. Different flavor, not bad, just bigger, totally different on a relight halfway through the stick. I got even more of the San Andreas that was like right on the tip of the tongue and down the center of my palate. I just got much, much bigger flavor. So I highly recommend it.
Yeah, Fred actually took a while. This is his second regular production Maduro.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually his third because he did a San Andreas for Stogies, the Lancero, which was very good actually. But Fred took a while to come out with a Maduro, and it was with that therapy that he finally came out with it last year. He was like, he's been on the show a couple of times, and he was kind of talking about, and what I love about Fred is how honest he is, as how he views what he's been doing as a learning process.
Sure.
And he said, he's in business now almost 4 years. He wasn't ready to do a Maduro for a while. He needed to get to that point, he felt, to do a Maduro. And I think the Therapy Maduro was one of his best cigars he's done to date. I thought it was an excellent cigar.
Yeah, really well done.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
You? Okay. What else you been smoking?
All right, I got a couple. So this is a cigar. It's a little more of a regional cigar. And I got to get more of these, right? But
Don't we all?
Yeah, L'Atelier.
Yeah.
The company Pete Johnson's brother, Casper Johnson, Dan Welsh, and Pete are partners in. They came out with a regional release in the Southeast called the Lat Sec, SEC. And it went to the Southeast U.S. So the funny thing about this is the name of the cigar is kind of appropriate for actually 2 reasons. One is obviously everyone's going to say the SEC because that's where the stores are, and they tend to be stores that are in the states that have SEC sports teams at college sports.
Sure.
But actually, what I learned from this is that it's actually a term used in the wine industry. Sec is a French term used to indicate the sweetness of a wine.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
Yep, and I didn't know that. And but it fits. Again, it fits into what L'Atelier has had. The La Mission has a wine ties as well.
Yeah.
Um, yep. So they did a release of these cigars, and they went to, like I said, about I want to say they went to about 20 to 25 retailers. It's a Sancti Spiritus wrapper with Nicaraguan binder and filler. So Sancti Spiritus is that wrapper that L'Atelier uses.
Hmm.
Um, what's different about this? They did a Cuban press of this cigar.
Okay.
Uh, and so here's a kind of something what I'll say about this cigar. It hit the. I'm gonna be totally honest. When it hit the stores, it was unsmokable. All right, I'm gonna be completely honest. It was harsh. It was rough. It was young,
Yeah.
and it came out last November. Um, but sometimes you got to have a little confidence and
Yeah.
give it a chance. So I started hearing people say some very good things about this cigar, but I knew it was young when I had it. So I went back. And I smoked it right now. And we talked with Riste about what some time can do for a cigar. Fantastic. I mean,
Well, and to your credit, and I said it to you, when we were talking in the earlier segment, that's why I think people love what you do and how you make a cigar review and present it. You smoke it early, maybe pre-release. You smoke it initially when it comes out. You follow up in a couple months, and maybe even out of the blue, a year or two later, you go back and revisit it, and guys will be like, "Yeah, I got that experience too," or maybe I didn't.
no, I appreciate that. And again, it was it was a cigar that it wasn't a sample given to me. This was a purchased product. But I kind of, like I said, you knew it was young, and then so it was one of those. I just said, all right, let me just put it back in the humidor for a while. But I'll tell you what, it's a great cigar. It's a bit of a powerhouse for a Latelier. So it's one that's going to be in the upper end of medium to full in terms of strength and body.
That's
Um,
cool.
so it's got some firepower to it. I did, yeah.
No,
Um,
I was going to start on a totally somewhat related but different note. Pete Johnson came through Louisville last week out of the blue, as far as any of us here knew, because he was going down to Buffalo Trace, one of our fine bourbon distillers here, for himself and for some LA tobacco store, and it was so funny because Jay Shepard, one of our local tobacconists, he just mentioned, "Hey, Pete Johnson stopped by the store. He's going to be here for a few hours," and it was great. It was like an impromptu herf, a couple dozen guys coming out. I smoked a tattoo there, which is a solid smoke that he's put out for a while, and it was just cool to see him. Like, what are you doing in town? Bourbon, which is, I think most of the cigar makers, come through here for the fine Kentucky juice, if you will.
yeah, I know. I know Paul goes to a conference there,
Oh
and
yeah.
me and him have been talking about I got to get out there, and we were talking about like I'll meet him at that one point. And I know we've said this every year, and it never happens. So
I got
I
a
gotta
guest
get out
room. It's wide open. If you can want it, whoever calls it first, it's yours.
I'll take it because he's got the business expense. We'll figure it out.
Fair
But
enough.
what's interesting about Pete? I'll say this. I met Pete. You know Smoke Inn very well. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
So I was down there, and Pete. There was an event that Pete was doing. He was launching the Apocalypse, and
Mhm.
I was there for the whole day. I happened to be in town. I'm hanging around smoking, and Pete comes bumping in there, and he goes into the humidor, and he pulls out this cigar called Le Navarre, which basically was a French Puro that Abe had in the humidor.
Nice.
And it was just really interesting to see him, smoking something. And he was telling me, he goes, "This is a niche smoke. It's very different." And it was a very different cigar. But yeah, just to see him kind of going in there, and he had smoked that cigar before apparently, and wanted to smoke it again. I
Yeah.
just thought it was really cool.
Yeah. No, just guys with passion for the industry, because there got to be easier ways to make money, uh, other than going to cigars, dealing with government taxes, different state regulations, the FDA, and they just keep at it. So yeah, solid.
No,
So
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that Latelier Sec, I gave it a box split, which is still a
nice.
very good rating in our book.
Now, I have one last cigar. Maybe I could let you know about.
Yep, and I got one more too.
All right, fair enough. The last one, and it's may seem a little odd because people hear the name and they think of some of the other novelty cigars they've made. But the Ted Cigars, who also happens to be located here in Louisville, Kentucky, has a cigar. It's been out for maybe over a year called Ferris.
That came out last year at the show.
Yeah, yeah, and it's really grown on me, and it's really one of my go-to cigars now. It's a little spicy, just a nice, even burn, a nice, even flavor in the palate. From the very foot to the very finish and everywhere in between. It's great. And I premised all this because a lot of people think of Ted's and they think of some of the stuff he's done, like the Maker's Mark cigars. He did one a while back for the Duck Commander guys with that Duck Call TV show.
Yep.
He's done one for, I think, Grand Marnier. I can't even say Marnier, whatever.
Yep.
That's it. So he's done some other Dumonte. I think he did Sam Adams Utopia as well. So he's done some other cigars. This is just a cigar. No alcohol, no infusion. Just, I think it's an Ecuadorian Corojo, Dominican Olor, and Nicaraguan Cuban Seed Ligero Seco, whatever. It's just a great cigar. And it's a box press. And my favorite is kind of the 5x50, 5x56 box press. Because it's just got a box press. To me, just has a nice feel in the hand when you're smoking it. You can turn it and play with it a little bit, and it burns so well. But the Ferris is just been a great cigar for me that I've been turned on to, and I think you can get a 20 count box, and just awesome. I love it.
Oh, that's interesting because when you said that, That's interesting because most of the TED stuff you think about, and they've done some unique things with.
Oh yeah.
Alcohol infused burn. I remember they had the hop cigar. Yeah,
yep, the beer thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've smoked some of those cigars, and some of them are very good actually. So this is more of so this is something they got into more of a traditional. It's Ferris. That's Ted's name, right? That's who owns it.
It's a family name. It's got they did a little bit of their marketing. I think it came from Lois Ferris or Lewis. So anyways, I'm going to mess that up as well. But that's where it came about, and it really speaks to his and the family's work ethic and the idea of putting something out there of quality, of consistency that just has a really good pop. And besides all the infused cigars they put in glass tubes around bourbon and alcohol and spirits, he's made some cigars that I don't think really get out of Kentucky a lot. Like he has one called Colonels. I think it's for the Kentucky Colonels of the world, I guess,
Really?
and some others. But Ferris has just really grown on me a lot, and maybe it's because it's now a year old and it's just gotten richer and deeper in flavor. But I like the price point on it; seemed really reasonable to me, for a box. So I say it's box worthy.
I got to check this cigar out. I mean, I see. I'll just have to. I may not have kept an eye open enough for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
drop some in the mail to you. I think I have one or two I can spare.
Oh, thanks.
So.
Yeah, we'll make it worth your while.
No worries. But yeah, just tasty smoke and well done. And it's so funny for Kentucky, where I'm at now, and we're headquartered here. For a state with such a rich tobacco history, we have so few cigar makers anymore. I think there's maybe half a dozen, maybe. So.
But this tobacco that's grown in. I mean.
Oh yeah. Kentucky Fire Cured has made a real comeback amongst a couple different cigar makers, or just it's being used a lot more. And I'm not a huge fan of it initially because it's so pungent, for lack of a better term. But after a year, especially Jonathan Drew, what he's been doing with it, and some other guys, after a year, it mellows out, and it's like the best. It may sound weird. It's like the best brisket I've ever had. It just is so rich.
Yeah, Tom, you nailed it. That cigar needs to sit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because when you get it, it has more of that campfire.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it sits, whatever happens, it's that sweet. It gets that sweetness.
Yep.
And it loses that harshness of the campfire, and it's like a different cigar.
I totally.
I agree. When you say it needs to sit a year, it needs to sit a year. That's just my palate. I know some people who smoke them regularly.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Right. So, fresh off the line, as it were.
I think the aging potential, and I kind of was at first a little negative on the line, but I think hearing what you say, it kind of confirms what I think on that.
So what's your last one? What do you got there? Something big,
I got
something small?
I got something very small. So this is an offshoot of one of my favorite cigars from a couple of years ago. So a couple of years ago, Casada came out with the 40th anniversary line,
Okay.
and there was most of the line was made in a San Andreas wrapper, but they made one cigar in an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper blend called the Corona Classica,
Okay.
which is one of the best cigars Casada's ever made. Unbelievable cigar. It was my number 2 cigar of the year in 2014. Almost was my cigar of the year. It was that good. They came out, but it was only available in one size. They actually came out with a Petite Bellicoso
Wow.
for a company, a shop, an online shop out in California called Small Batch Cigar, which I'll plug them, and they're not a sponsor, but if you're looking for good boutique stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they price protect their brands, so they're not gonna clear them out. I would check out Small Batch Cigar. They got some really good stuff out there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So this is a 4.5 by 40 petite. It's called the Petite Bellicoso Classica, and I'll say this: it wasn't the Corona Classica. Um, it was still a Corona Classica got one of my highest ratings, which was an Oasis rating. This was a box worthy cigar, which is an excellent cigar. The bad part about this cigar was just too small. So what happens is it's got some great flavors and it exhibits all those great qualities of the Corona Classica, but it doesn't get a chance to really ramp up.
Develop. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
develops. It's a great summer smoke. Here it is. This is a great summer smoke we want to talk about. But fantastic cigar. I still would recommend it. Especially this is a limited run they've done. The 5 packs go for about $34.95. Medium strength, medium body. It's not going to overpower you. Some nice woody notes you're going to get in there.
Do
It's
you think it's better with food or a beverage like a beer or a whiskey or something as far as a pairing?
it's definitely a good cigar with a black coffee.
Nice.
Yep, one of those good morning Connecticut's, I would say.
Nice. All right. I will give
Yeah,
that a try.
yeah. But it's interesting. I haven't tried it. I'm wondering how it would work with a whiskey. I'm gonna have to give it a try as well. Um, yep. So that was a box worthy. So I think we are at the end of an edition of Stogie Geeks. What I want to do, Tom, first of all, thanks so much for pinch hitting, and like I said, great having you on the show, as always.
Well, thanks for reaching out to me. And this is episode 186,
189.
189. So you guys are coming up on 200. So I'm thinking maybe you got a big plan, something going on, because that's kind of uncommon in this podcasting world of growing and being consistent and getting out there and doing what you're doing. I mean, 200. That's a hallmark.
No, I appreciate it. I think I'd say there are three probably that are ahead of us. I'd say Cigar Authority, definitely ahead of us. Of course, Doc Diaz, who's going to be stepping down after 500,
Yeah.
and Abe's slightly ahead of us. I Kiss My Ash. I think
Yeah.
it's up to like 212 or something like that. So
But-
we're very fortunate. What I will say, okay, about episode 200 is I'm going to a cigar event on Friday in North Carolina to personally invite this guest to be 200, but I don't know if I'm going to get it, so I don't want to say. But it is an iconic name.
Very cool. Very cool.
But I've had having a little trouble getting to this person, but I know if I get to I think if I get this in person, and we'll do. I'm gonna shoot to do 2 guests anyway. We did for episode 150. We did Jonathan Drew and Christian Aroa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for episode 100, we did Nestor Miranda and Clint Aaron. So we've tended to always do 2. So I think the thing is, if the first guest falls into play, the second guest will probably fall into there. But it's a lot dependent on the first guest right now.
Nice. Nice. Well, thanks for having me. I'm glad you reached out. Glad to just kind of pitch it, jump in, do what I can.
Yep.
Great show as always.
Thank you. So tune in next week. We'll have on Scott Weeks from Recluse Cigar Company, episode 190. Be sure to check out Cigar Coop for all the latest news and reviews. Cigar-coop.com. And of course, Stogie Geeks News, the only podcast dedicated to cigar news, and Stogie Shorts. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week.